Can I have you say and spell your first and last name for me?
Yes, Daniel Siebert, Daniel Siebert, Sieve as in victory, ERT.
And do you have a title that you have?
I'm the handler of service dogs that, just handler of service dogs would be my title.
Okay, awesome. So I guess kind of tell me about what
Stop.
brought you to Colorado Springs here today.
I have been here prior to this. My service dogs also do outreach with me. We show up after traumatic events like bombings, shootings, terrorist attacks, shootings of officers when they respond to domestic disturbances or serving warrants. I have been in Colorado Springs several times before. Unfortunately, we were here with my last two golden retrievers who are no longer with me after the Halloween shootings, 2015, November, and then also after the Planned Parenthood shooting. We were actually still here, and it unfolded while we were watching a news story in our hotel room. We've been in Colorado Springs in 2018 when my deputy Micah Flick got shot and killed as well. And we were here for Jamie Jersevitz's funeral, the officer trooper that got sideswiped on the highway. I think that was also 2016, if my memory serves me well. We're on a tour across America right now. It's called Bringing Peace Across America. It sounds like a simple task, but it's very arduous for me and Cooper. My mission, unlike most in the past, we're not responding to a terrible event. We are here, stop number 41 of 101 stops, to just come alongside people in a natural way, whether it's a grocery store, hotel lobby, sometimes parking lots, sometimes Starbucks or other coffee shops, churches, wherever we go, to engage people one at a time and do a heart check on people. My main mission is to listen. There's no debate, there's nothing partisan, there's nothing religious about this. It's just to listen to people, do a heart check. Based on today's times, with all the heaviness that people are experiencing, with national news, gas prices, grocery prices, my mission is just to breathe a little bit of hope for people. And the way of doing that is to recognize them, understand that they may be carrying a burden, and our mission is to listen and try to ease that burden a little bit and just let them know, breathe, relax, life will be good, one day at a time.
Absolutely. How does Cooper help with that?
So Cooper is trained for two reasons. He's my service dog 24/7. When I go out to greet people, he comes and gives them this deep, intense hug that's almost a miracle. He'll hug in very close. He'll become very somber and stay quietly with that person. I've encountered a few people, even on this trip, that have had heavy losses. One in Littlefield, Arizona, at a church. There was a lady sitting there at choir practice, and she wasn't in the choir. And to give you an idea, we came alongside her because he pulled me to her, and I told him to just be quiet because he was talking a little bit. It was a good talk, good conversation, but I said, shh, choir practice. He pulled me over to the lady sitting on the right, and I gave her a piece of paper saying Bringing Peace Across America with Cooper's picture. Her jaw dropped and she said, "You're joking. He understands. He knows, doesn't he?" And of course, I didn't know what was happening. But a minute later, she said, "I had just lost my 26-year-old daughter 32 days ago. This is the first time I've been out of the house since then," because she was so despondent. It was a mystery. They didn't even know why the daughter had passed. And Cooper stayed with her upwards of a half an hour, which is monumental because by the time he got through with her, you could see her whole aura of her face was lifted up and her whole attitude and demeanor was changed. He senses the deep pain, he senses the trauma, whether it's physical or emotional, and he'll stay with someone long enough for them to express their grief and change into a little bit more of a positive state.
Absolutely. And is he, like, what exactly specifically is he trained in?
So he's trained for mobility. So I'm disabled and I have some strength issues. So he's trained to help me with my mobility. But he's also trained to actually triage people.
Wow.
So if a doctor was to put a cuff on your arm, or a nurse and put the stethoscope on your heart, this is basically what he does when he hugs somebody. He gets very serious. He goes from smiling to very quiet and very reverent.
Yeah. I guess kind of tell me about your previous experiences here in Colorado Springs. You mentioned the Planned Parenthood shooting. Tell me about what that was like for you and your dog at the time. I don't know if that was Cooper.
Yeah, I had Jake and Emerson. I had two dogs. They were both golden retrievers because it's called Golden Missions of America. We arrived at King Soopers next door to the Planned Parenthood shooting area the following day, because obviously we couldn't get to that building. It was on lockdown. And what I did was just I showed up, went to, I think they had a Starbucks inside, if my memory serves me well. We sat there and I had a cup of coffee, and my dogs just sat there like Cooper is right now. People would walk in, and 1 out of every 5 would come up, "May I pet your dogs?" That's the first key indicator that something could be going on when they approach me. Because a lot of people have dogs at home, but they still are gravitated towards these golden retrievers. And I've been lucky enough to have all 3 in a row that do this triage. When they come up and pet the dogs and hug them, they say their story. "Oh, I saw that on the news," or "a friend of mine was there," or something to reveal that their heart's hurting a little bit, that they're a little bit anxious. And then I allow them that hug and that embrace and that 5 minutes with each dog. And my mission is, again, is to say, you're going to get through this, things will be better, there's hope ahead.
And why do you do this?
You know, I was electrocuted and burned alive in 1974. I had 12,000 volts go through me. Dangling on a high voltage pole. This is in San Diego. Rescued, taken to the hospital with a 10% chance of living. I survived a 1.5 years of surgery, 17 surgeries, what would be about, I'd say in today's dollars, $2 million worth of surgeries. There were people that came into my room and sat quietly next to me. And they would just be quiet most of the time, and they'd listen. And most of the stuff I was saying, they probably didn't want to hear, because I didn't want to live. I was all but dead. I was pretty badly burned and pretty despondent, but they would smile and say, "You're going to get through this. Life will happen again. We're here for you." And now, years later, I can pay that forward. And we've been doing this for 13 years, ever since the Boston Marathon bombings. Show up in a town, I never know what's going to happen, but usually before we leave that city or town where the trauma, bombing, shooting, or whatever the case may be that happened, there's usually 1 or 2 people that I can see that my dogs and I make a deep impact on, that nobody else has bothered to recognize their pain, and most of it's emotional pain. Some of the people that we encounter are just emotionally affected, not even like the Boston Marathon bombings. We were on the street greeting people every day. We were in the hospital with the direct victims, and people would be walking downtrodden, and their faces would be lifting up, seeing the Goldens and hugging them and saying, "Yes, I'm still traumatized 2 weeks later by that event." And then when I leave, they're, "Thank you." They just say thank you. So I do it because I want to be with the people that are unrecognized. Just like when I was in that hospital room, there were very few people that came to see me. They were special people. I want to be one of those special people, not special people that I'm great, no, but that I can recognize people's pain and suffering and try to impact a little bit of healing in their lives.
Absolutely. And I guess tell me why you're wanting to go across the country and provide like support and joy for these people. Like, what is in it for you?
Well, About a year ago, I was encountering a few surgeries at Stanford Hospital, but prior to that, I knew that I was going to get through that eventually, and it was very difficult for me. But watching national news, you know, any national news, local news, you see headlines always come, America's going through this and that, with all the situations trickling down to the economy and all the shootings and all the situations that are still occurring. People they're driving faster, they're shopping faster, they're more hurried about everything. They have anxiety. You can see it in their faces. You can see it in the way they talk. I feel that it's necessary, as many people as I can touch, to let them know that these are events, but your life is right now and it's real, and it's time to just look at the good things. And golden retrievers obviously bring good things to light. They bring joy and they bring smiles. That's why our credo is Paws to smile, because all my golden retrievers have smiled, and people look at them and go, they're smiling, and they go, yes, because they love you, they care for you. So I try to use my ability to help others, train my dogs to do that, to help them, other people, a little bit to heal. And even though we're not going to see everybody in Colorado Springs, I just want to reach out and say, whatever anxiety or issues you're going through, you're going to get through to a better life. There's going to be a better window of hope. Just breathe and understand that you need to take time to relax every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess final question for you. If you had a message to anybody watching who may be going through something traumatic or just in general not feeling super good about the state of the world or anything like that, what would you say to them?
Well, I'd say that the events that are going on in the world are not your life. They're just events. And you need to understand and separate that. I drive through road construction, heavy winds, heavy weather. And of course, the funny thing, I had 6 inches of snow on my car last week in Colorado Springs. But I've driven through some heavy storms. I've been a recipient of a lot of road rage. But that's not because of something I'm doing. And I have to separate. Maybe those people are anxious and I have to pull over and let them pass. People are in line and they're anxious. I say, go ahead. I've had rude statements made to me, even on this trip, and I say nothing, because I have to realize those people are carrying a burden. So make sure to understand that when you go through a hard circumstance, that's real, and we recognize that, and we care about you. And even though we're not going to see you, there's hope ahead. Take time to breathe, take time to take care of yourself, sit down somewhere quietly, turn off the TV, turn off the media, have a cup of tea or a coffee, and just take that moment to understand you're valuable and we care about you.
Well, Daniel, if you have anything else that I haven't asked about that you feel like the public should know, I'm going to open up that for you. But otherwise, I don't have any other questions.
Well, we are planning to go through a few more states, ending in probably Boston. Yeah, it's this drive is a drive of faith, because my funds have already run out, not run out, but they're challenged. A few days ago, I had a tooth break in half. Mother's Day, actually. I told a few of my friends, I think it's time to go back to California. And then one of them said, you're going to end your journey? In other words, you started this, you're going to continue this. So I have to find a dental surgeon or a dentist, but there's been glitches. Yeah, glitches happen in life. First day of my journey, April the 8th, I had a neck injury because the wind blew the car door into my neck. What do? Continue on. Do therapy, cold ice, Tylenol, continue on. I had a dent in Grand Junction as a souvenir of backing up into a post. I was at a hotel last week. The engineer popped a dent out for me. So, you know, life, as you go and as we go, the story is you may have dents in your spirit or your car, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a rich life ahead. And so we're going to continue on through windstorms and rainstorms and all kinds of events and detours, just like every trip. But my goal is to end up with those other 60 places that we have to go to. And I know that there's going to be an opportunity to serve people. And in a way, that's healing for me too. It's healing because I know that we are doing something to help others. You've got to sacrifice yourself. And what is it, John F. Kennedy that said that, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And this is what I am trying to do to impact the country. We may never show up at the White House, we may never talk to the president, but we'll talk to the people that really need to be approached and helped along the way.
Daniel, I think that's all I've got for you.